CM Punk crossed a line that nobody has ever dared to cross with The Rock. Not in all the years of professional wrestling history. Not in all the promo wars and personal attacks and heated rivalries that this business has produced. Nobody ever went there with The Rock. Until CM Punk did. And the moment that information reached the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, something happened that professional wrestling has never seen before. The Rock did not respond on social media. He did not wait for the next scheduled segment on Raw. He picked up his phone and called an emergency meeting. And every single person who walked into that room when The Rock arrived knew immediately that what CM Punk just did was going to have consequences unlike anything this business has ever produced. The Rock was not angry. Angry was 20 minutes ago. What The Rock was in that room was something that goes far deeper than anger. And CM Punk is about to feel every single bit of it. Stay right here because this is the most important story in professional wrestling right now and you need every single layer of it. Before anything else can be understood, the specific act of disrespect from CM Punk that started all of this needs to be looked at properly. Because CM Punk has said some things in his career. He has gone after opponents in ways that most professional wrestlers would never attempt. He has crossed lines that other performers identify from a distance and walk carefully around. His entire promo approach is built on finding the most genuinely vulnerable target and attacking it directly without the usual hesitation that keeps most performers within acceptable limits. He has done this to virtually every significant opponent of his career. And in almost every case, even when things got personal and heated, the people on the receiving end processed it as professional wrestling. As competitive trash talk operating at an elevated level. Something the business accommodates. Something that stays within the framework of what professional wrestling conflict is supposed to look like. What CM Punk did this time was different. Not just more aggressive than usual. Different in category. He did not go after The Rock's professional wrestling record. He did not attack his championship history or his decisions as a WWE figure or his public persona. He went after something personal. Something that exists underneath all of those layers. Something that connects to who The Rock actually is as a human being in ways that the professional wrestling framework cannot fully contain or protect. The specific targeting of what CM Punk chose to address landed with a force that The Rock's considerable experience navigating professional wrestling conflict had simply not prepared him for. Because some things cannot be prepared for regardless of how long you have been in this business or how many wars you have fought. Some specific, precisely targeted forms of disrespect hit differently from everything that came before them. And when The Rock received what CM Punk said and processed the full weight of what was actually being targeted, the emergency meeting was not a calculated strategic response. It was the only thing available. Here is what makes this moment so significant. The Rock almost always operates with a specific combination of showmanship and strategic intelligence working together. When something happens that requires a response, The Rock calculates. The showman finds the most effective delivery. The strategist identifies the optimal moment. The cultural icon understands what the platform requires. That process happens fast. Sometimes in seconds. But it always happens. When CM Punk's words reached The Rock, that process did not happen. It was bypassed completely. The people who witnessed his immediate reaction described the same specific quality. The usual processing sequence was gone. What responded was not the showman or the strategist or the cultural icon. It was the person underneath all of those identities. A human being responding to something that reached him below every layer of professional construction without giving any of those layers the chance to shape the response first. He reached for his phone before the calculation could occur. He called the meeting before the strategy could form. That tells you everything about how deep CM Punk's disrespect went. The emergency meeting that The Rock called assembled the bloodline and selected additional people whose presence communicated something about the full scope of what was being addressed. The word emergency was chosen deliberately. It communicated to every person receiving the summons that whatever had happened required immediate collective response rather than the careful, deliberate planning that the bloodline's most significant decisions normally involve. The people who arrived came with the energy of people who understood from the urgency alone that this was not a strategy session or rivalry planning meeting. This was something different. This was a family being called together because one of their own had been genuinely hurt. The Rock spoke first. The witnesses to that opening address describe a quality they had never previously seen from him in any WWE context. The showman was completely absent. What spoke in that room was something more fundamental and more raw. He explained what CM Punk had said, and the room's reaction was immediate and completely genuine. Roman Reigns, whose own personal history with CM Punk's willingness to cross lines is well documented, responded with an expression that communicated total unified alignment with whatever The Rock decided the appropriate response was going to be. The meeting continued long enough for the initial reaction to settle, for the collective intelligence of everyone assembled to assess the full landscape, and for a response to be decided that matched not the scale of a professional wrestling rivalry but the scale of what had actually been done. Roman Reigns' role in that emergency meeting tells its own important story. The rivalry between Roman Reigns and CM Punk had already been the most personally charged program in the entire 2026 WWE landscape before this latest act of disrespect. The history between them, the championship programs, the verbal warfare, the physical confrontations, had already elevated this beyond normal WrestleMania season rivalry territory into something operating at a genuinely personal level. Roman Reigns walking into that emergency meeting was not simply a bloodline member responding to a summons. It was a man who already had his own deep personal reasons to want CM Punk to face the heaviest possible consequence, arriving at a moment where the entire family's fury was pointing in exactly the same direction he was already pointing. What the bloodline decided in that room is coming. The collective response that was formulated in that emergency meeting is going to be the most significant action the bloodline has taken in the entire 2026 WWE chapter. CM Punk crossed a line with The Rock that nobody has ever crossed before. The Rock called his family together. The family made a decision. And the best in the world is about to discover that being the best in the world offers absolutely no protection from what happens when you disrespect the wrong person at the wrong level. The Rock is not angry anymore. The Rock has a plan, and that is so much more dangerous.